So 2018 Maverick Trail, 1000 DPS. Had it since January 18. About 4,900 kilometers on it. It's been great. So we're going to install the lift kit from Cubic Dollar Off-Road, which is a 2-inch proper lift. Excuse the mess in the shop, got a lot going on. So yeah, it's an actual bracket lift kit. So gonna just kind of run you guys through the installation, and maybe that'll help some people out in the future with their lift kit installations. As always, I manufacture the aluminum framed glass windshields for the Maverick Trail Sport. Kind of sucks right now, shipping with COVID's no good. So, but if you're in the maritime provinces in Canada, give me a call. Somebody that travels that way, trucker or something, give me a call, shoot me a message. Anyway, we'll get into this in a minute. So in the instructions for the lift kit, tells you about taking off these two front plastic pieces. I prefer just taking the whole front piece off. I find it's easier. The bolt to get to in the back here is an SOB for just the plastics. So to manage this off, I'm not going to record taking screws out. It's a waste of time for you and for me. So basically there's one on each side here, here, here. Then you're going to take off, this is the bracket for your front fang. There's one on each side. So here, 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 and where am I? Here. And then down below, you take out these 3 screws for the bottom of your fangs. And then on each side, you take out this bolt here, this thorax. I usually take out this one as well. And there's a plastic pin, you probably can't see it, that sucks, but there's a little plastic pin there and here that has to come out. And this whole front is going to lift right off. And then you can access your rad too. Make sure that's not blocked up or full of mud or whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen those off. And then I'll show you again, and I'll actually pull it off for you. That's why videoing's always great. I forgot. There are two, I believe they're 30. Yeah, 230 little thoraxes right there. So I'll get those out, and then this whole thing should pop right off. So I just get this lit up a little bit better. So there's a plug here and here. I'll find out. I don't think you need to take that one off, but I'll find out when I go to do it. So right here, if you have the signature lights, there's a plug in there that has to pop off. And then your 2 headlights up and back here. I also have rock lights I put on mine. See the front there, and I also put a little light in here. I can't remember where I plugged that in, but anyway, so I'll have that. So I'm going to get those unplugged, and then I'll come back to show you how to pull the front off. So again, just here, 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 and here. Those are 30 thorax, and then this was a 13 mil bolt, and these are a 40 thorax, and that's it. The whole thing will just come right out. So yeah, I'll get those unplugged, and then we'll pull off the front. Okay, so I think I've got all the wires detached. I'll find out in a second, but these just kind of pop out. These kind of are slid in. You see how that moved out there? You are going to find out how much dirt you don't wash out of your machine when you do this. So this is pulled out. You can see how that's loose. So this is see this tab here? So you've got to lift up your, I don't know if I can do this while I'm recording here, but you've got to basically push that in and lift that up at the same time. I'm probably going to need both my hands. Yeah. Yeah, I'm likely going to need both my hands for this, so I'll pop that off. So I misrecorded this earlier. Anyway, you pull these two pieces out. They're kind of clipped in the side. You've undone all those bolts. Sorry about the finger. And then this just literally lifts right off. So, yeah. Okay, so it is off. I got a bunch of wires under there for the rock lights and for the high beam. I got HID high beams, which, meh, I don't know if I'd recommend. Yeah, there's a bunch of wires to disconnect. So just make sure you disconnect all your wires before you pull this off. But it literally pulls right off, and so see what I mean? Like, I just washed this frigger, like, hardcore yesterday. We went for a ride in the snow and water and no mud. I washed it well, but, like, the mud that's up in there is nuts. So, yeah, like, look at that. I had the high pressure. I mean, I wasn't high pressuring it, but I had look at that garbage. Crazy. So, anyways, I haven't driven this in a year because of COVID. The trails were closed, and then we did chickens and shit, so stuff. I haven't driven it, but I have been taking it off, like, once every few months just to wash it. So anyway, that is that's the front end off. Easiest way to work with it. So I'm gonna get the kit together here and take a look. I have a feeling these are going to have to be moved from the instructions I saw. Anyway, I'll get the kit and we'll take a look and start with the front and, yeah, go from there. Okay, we've got the bike jacked up. I'm going to have to remove those two 10mm bolts. And he talked about a little standoff. That would be this that could slide off easy. These are 18mm bolt, 18mm nut on the back. You have to remove this little plastic pin on this piece. You have to remove, and it looks like I get a lot of extra wires, but it looks like the shape of the bracket. All those wires should sneak right along and not be a problem. I've got the spring compressors on. Shouldn't have to compress them too much, but I'm going to loosen those bolts off, take them out, compress the springs, and then jack it up, and we'll see how this bracket fits in. And there's the lift kits all installed. Lots of issues because I didn't compress the spring enough, and then I had to compress it while it wasn't attached, and so make sure you compress your springs lots, but it's on. Just the two bolts here, the bolt here. There's no corresponding bolt in the back there. I had to modify my wiper a little bit to wiper washer bottle. Angle of the axle doesn't look too bad. We'll see. Yeah, so I'm gonna put the front back together and on with the back. So front is done and back together. Just to say, there is I kind of forgot, but there's a plastic piece right here, and that sucks, you can't even see. But anyway, there's a plastic pin you have to, push pin you got to remove there to slide that second bracket in behind here. You'll see it. And also when you're sliding these back on, you can get really frustrated because there's a little piece in here that sticks out, and then there's a piece here that goes over it. So it's really a two-person. You got to kind of pull this out and make sure that snaps over that little piece. It's harder to get back on than it is to get off, which can be the case. I can tell it's higher, just where it's sitting on when I'm standing up against it. So the back. Spring compressors sketch me out. I hate them. So I'm going to do one wheel at a time. And I don't have the best spring compressors either. So I'm going to compress this spring. I'm going to jack it up, put put this side in, and then I'll move over to the driver's side. These are side specific, so this is the passenger side here, driver's side. I left one of them in a package so I know which one's which. And one other thing I forget to mention, in the front, like that bracket has 2 holes on the top and a hole in the bottom for the shock, and there's a lip. So the lip faces away from the center frame piece that you're mounting it to, basically. So anyway, I wasn't sure, and I messaged Cheryl, and so fits good. So anyway, set your shock to the lowest setting, and then compress the springs, and then we're going to jack it up. I had an awful time with the front because I didn't compress them enough, because I was trying to use one compressor on each spring. Bad idea. Anyway, the front's done. Took me a little longer maybe than it should have, but I like taking my time too. You rush, that's when you make mistakes and forget stuff. So anyway, I'm going to compress this spring, and when I get it off, I'll show you the bracket. It's just basically, this is going to be the original shock bracket location. That's where the shock's going to go, and there's a bolt in the back there, so I guess it would be kind of like this. Anyway, we shall check it out and see. Yeah, it's going to go like this. So he's already got the spacer welded in at the top to go inside. And then we're going to put a bolt in whichever one of these holes that lines up with, and then the shock will go in that bottom. So anyway, I'll video again when we've got it to that point. Okay, so the spring's compressed, the bracket is in. Put this top bolt in first to kind of hold it, and then gonna put some tape on like Earl suggested, and we're gonna put this in, which goes right in there. You can't see, but anyway, make sure you compress your spring slots, because I didn't on that side. It's kind of what that looks like, and anyway, it was frustrating. So pry bar will help too to push that down. So this is after installation. I'm just kind of watching my clips I made, and some of them kind of maybe aren't as explicit as they could be. So anyway, when you're doing this rear one back here, you've got, this is your original shock location. This is your new shock location. There's 2 holes in that bracket. You can see a bolt back there, and then there's another hole you can see just below it there. Bolt, and then there's a hole right there. So it's, you bolt into the top hole. So you have to come in from down here. So that's why it's suggested to tape that bolt on the back side. Still get tape on that. Because you have to go up in here and line that up and hold that bolt, and then, you know, hold that nut, and then get that bolt through and started to thread on it. And the shock is still attached at the bottom, and it's tight because you've compressed it. So Beer Buddy would be helpful, I guess. So it's this space in here that you've got to go up inside to get that bolt on. So I put this top one in first, put it in place, like flush hard up against this, put this bolt in place to hold it, and then it made it much easier to get that in. So I had to shine a flashlight in to make sure I was at the hole, and then put the bolt through. So yeah, just thought I would shove this clip in there so people would know, I guess. Anyway, and in the front, this thing's a lot higher too. It's awesome. In the front, so the first bracket, you can see it right there. That's the bracket right there. No, yeah, I got a flashlight. Sorry, I'm not a YouTube star by any means, so if you expected high quality video, I aim to disappoint. So that's the bracket there. And on the back side, you can see it down there. That's it right there. Comes up right here. So like I said, I had to kind of move over my bracket for my windshield washer, and then so up in there you can see the edge of the bracket right there, flip side out. You can see, can you see? Yeah, get my wire out of the way. You can see the bottom of the bracket flipped out there. So again, I started off on the front. I put the front on and I screwed those screws back into the radiator holder to hold the front one on, and then I just slid the back one in. I put the spacer in there. There's a spacer in there. Put that in and then slid the bolt through and then lined up that bracket. Put the bolt on, and then I did the same on the other side. I didn't tighten it down hard, but I snugged it up, and then I worked on putting the shock on. And like I said, I did not compress springs enough, so anyway, I thought I'd just mention that stuff. I don't know, I guess it could be novice if you want to try it. Novice job. But just take your time, like with anything. You take your time, you're fine, you rush it, you screw it up. And that's the way I work anyway. So, yeah, I had her out for a spin in the yard. Seemed pretty good. So, we'll see how it is. Earl said he's got 4,500 kilometers on his since he installed his kit, and he's had no issues with axles, so that would be my only worry. But they really don't look too bound up, and people are running like 32-inch tires and not having problems. So anyway, thanks for checking it out. Happy trails. Get any questions, call Earl, or you can comment. Thanks.